Hey folks, dude here, come to you on another easy, breezy, beautiful Tuesday. Hope you guys are doing okay. Looking at the room on the YouTube side, I don't see anybody yet. Looking at things on the Facebook side, I don't see anybody yet. But it is basically just me cranking things up, and I know it takes things for things to float through the timeline, as it were, and to do those things that, gets people into the, oh yeah, he's now doing it. So good stuff like that there. And we'll move on thusly. And I usually do the 5-minute lead in, so we know things are now happening and people know stuff is happening. Of course, there is now people showing up on the YouTube side. Always a major plus. Abrams, what's going on, dude? The AK-107, the 30-40% more accurate than the M16A4. Okay, great. I mean, the only problem is it really actually even being fielded? I mean, this is a discussion that Abram and I was having earlier. We were discussing like the AN-94 and AK-107, and those are it's vaporware. I mean, it literally is it's Russian vaporware. Speaking of vaporware, if you guys wish to look at the monitors, I am now wearing the Blockbuster t-shirt, so we are definitely talking sincere vaporware. We're talking things that are just kind of foof stuff that, it's wishing it still was being produced. And it really, truly is just, well, it's kind of, yeah, it's, it's gone, it's gone the way of the dodo, dude. Pretty much you could say anything that was, it's just now, it's gone. There's so much of what could have been is now, it's bye-byeville. So anyway, looking at the technology, Abram and I was going back and forth about, essentially what it was the Russians were doing the classic thing like we did. Like I threw back at him the SPIW, Special Purpose Infantry Weapon. It was a product improved thing. They tried like flechettes. There was a experimental, and I've actually held one of the cartridges. They're really, really hard to find. But there was actually 2 distinct versions of a really completely obscure weapon system that the U.S. military was playing with. One they were referring to was something called I believe it was a telescope round, where if you look at it, it was a plastic block. And it was not conventional in the slightest. I mean, let me just pick up Mr. Water Bottle here so I can give you like a basic demonstration of what I'm talking about. So Mr. Water Bottle would be the cartridge, and essentially your standard weapon cartridges: primer, powder, bullet, which is then partially inserted into the case. The case fires the bullet exits the weapon, the powder charge that was in the cartridge is expended, the cartridge is then extracted and spat out from the weapon system. There is derivatives of that, but let me talk to you first about the collapsed round. The collapsed rounds, for all intents and purposes, kind of look like the U-bend on a plumbing setup. I mean, essentially, it was a plastic, literally a polymer box cartridge, and one leg of the block was pretty much powder and primer. On the other leg of the block was the bullet. So essentially what happened then is that you had a cartridge that was about half, if not 2/3 the length. It wasn't like ridiculously different than the previous iteration, but it was something technology-wise they were playing with. And it was one of those things that they tried, and they said, yeah, that's a really great idea. General Dynamics or whoever the contractor was came up with this thing. It's amazing. We got to try it, blah, 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 blah. And they tried it, and they're like, yeah, that's cool, but technology's not quite ready for this thing yet because the polymers and other stuff that we don't have access to is just not there yet. It was a good idea. It was kind of cool. They ran it up. I think they did it in a 5.56 format, a 7.62 format, and a 50 BMG format. And I think they even went up to and even tried it in like a cannon size. And they were like, yeah, that's really cool. But, hang on, so let me find that sound effect again. It was really just kind of, it just was not there yet. So that one got duffed off. And then the 6mm I was talking about is very, very close to along the lines of like, kind of like the 6.5 Grendel or like the 6.8 SPC or, the newer format stuff that they're coming out with, like the Hot Rod 5.56 stuff, being like, the product improved versions that still fit in an AR-15 style rifle, because that's always your major component difference is going to be, does it fit in the magazine? If you don't have one that fits in that size magazine, you'd have to bump it up to an AR-10, or you need to come up with some other form that's just completely a different animal entirely. Now, like I said, the collapse rounds essentially was kind of that same thing. It was just product improved, what fits in there, what has more, what has more more gumption and all the rest of that fun stuff. And it's always a case of they're asking for a lot to fit in a pre-existing design. It's like your classic thing. Look at the engine compartment. What actually fits in the engine compartment of a Chevy Vega? And the guy popped the hood off. He popped out the piece of crap, burn oil in 5 miles from the dealership engine, chucked that thing out and said, hey, a Chevy small block 350 bolts right up. Almost. It fits. And I've ridden in a V8 Vega. They are not slow, man. They are not slow at all. I remember riding one of those things as a kid. That thing ran like a raped ape. Now, the thing about it is also now your standard limitations on a weapon system is physically what fits into it before you need to go to another weapon system. Well, if you think about your standard military TO&E, which is your table of observation and equipment, translation, the crap that they're supposed to have versus the crap that they do have, you need to also remember, too, the supply chain. If you got a weapon system that requires cartridge A, and everybody uses cartridge A, it's universal. If you have a weapon system that uses cartridge A and B as a product improved cartridge, you're better off because then you only have 2 supply lines. But if dude can't get cartridge B, he still can run and gun with cartridge A. The classic example of that is those guys who are running sniper rifles in 7.62 NATO. The guys who are running the weapon systems in machine guns that are 7.62 NATO might not have the most accurate cartridges, but they still have ammo that the sniper guy can use. Might not be as accurate, but he can still use the secondary rounds. Now, the problem is when you have a supply chain, and you can ask Rommel about this one, read like the incredibly amazing German general who was an armor guy who really was not a Nazi. He really was not. He was a guy fighting for the Vaterland. He was not Vaterland. He was fighting for the Vaterland. He was not fighting for Hitler. He was not fighting for the Nazi party. He was fighting for Germany. And so much so that actually he fell in a major, just ruined here. You guys suck. I do not fall in lockstep with you guys at all. You Nazi guys suck. But anyway, even Rommel will tell you, when he went to the campaigns of North Africa, he was doing good. He was doing good. He was doing good. He was doing good. And all of a sudden, the supply chain is going, yeah, we're trying to catch up with you guys. You're advancing too fast for us to keep up with you guys. So that's when the German tankers had to get very, very creative with, fuel sourcing, ammo sourcing, secondary items, food, clothing, water, all that falderall. And that's your classic thing. An army travels on its stomach, quite literally. If you don't have the food, you don't have the fuel. Okay, your classic line is your beans, bullets, and bandages. If you don't have those, you're not fighting any longer because you've now outstripped, you've outreached, and you've gone far away from your supply chain, and you can no longer fight effectively. Say like you're running Tiger tanks and they run on diesel fuel. The only thing available is gasoline. What do you do? Where do you go to from here? And classically, that's one of those things that's actually kind of funny about the M1 Abrams tank is most people don't realize that thing being a gas turbine, it will burn anything that burns. You can put JP4 or JP8, whatever, jet fuel that they're currently running as standard fuel in the military. That's the dirty little secret is they're running the really expensive stuff, even in the tanks that gobbles that stuff down like little kids on Halloween with Halloween candy. But being a gas turbine, it will burn anything with a flash point that burns. So technically, if you filter it correctly, you could run that tank on anything from alcohol to waste oil, literally. And that's truthfully one of those things that is its forte, is it will run on anything. Well, slight power detriment because this doesn't give me the full BTU value, but it will still run. So being a gas turbine, it will run on any of those fuels, and it might, suffer the BTU losses, but it'll still run maybe with a slight power hit, but it's still going to run, okay? Basically those people in the business who know the M1 Abrams refer to it as the giant vacuum cleaner because it literally sounds like a giant Hoover vacuum cleaner going, the things are hilarious to listen to. Let me look over here in the room real quick. Abrams going back and forth here. Able to eat steel case. It is stronger, comrade, and yes, India is using it on the Chi-Com front. Well, that's good because I got common ammo now. 745 by 39. They use it in 7.62 by 3.9. They love it so much they have ordered 30K of them, so 30,000 of the rifles. You forgot the red berries, dude. The Nazis ran on. Red berries. Yes. He's talking about something that I referenced on a meme that I found, and it was Panzer chocolate, and it was literally Armor's chocolate. Armor chocolate. No, Tankers chocolate. And the thing about it is the dirty little secret is back in the good old days. You would run on methamphetamine. You would run on amphetamines. You would be running on speed. And literally, this chocolate had speed in it. So the Tanks would be gobbling this stuff down. They're like, yeah, let us fight for the fatherland. We must fight now. Ah! They're all fired and amped up, and they want to go in there and just, duke it out with everybody because they're juiced. So yeah, that did they tell the tankers that it had methamphetamine or amphetamine in it? I don't know, but the guys who discovered methamphetamine was the Germans. Yeah, good yums. Yeah, so they're really, really happy, and extra happy, and I think they were extra happy because the yums had the yums in it. I'm not going to say that really it made them fight any more effectively, but it made them fight, and they were ready to go. So anyway, the Panzer chocolate. Yeah, that was. Oof. I wouldn't want to have that stuff in my field kit, man, because you think about banging that stuff too hard, you're gonna have a problem eventually. You're just gonna have an issue. So anyway, let's see. Wake my mouse up here. I'm about ready to replace Mr. Mousy because Mr. Mousy is being obnoxious. Let's see here. Let me jump off of that. Jump out of that. There's some stuff I really can't take out of my timeline because it translates as just memes. I don't know if you guys saw this or not, but I posted this video, and it's really showing the kind of disgusting, just nasty stuff that Joe Biden does. But the actual link is HTTPS. So, HTTPS, basically your standard secure login, :// streamable. So you're talking like stream. So STREAMABLE.com /OK. 7I21. I believe that's what that is. Yes, 7I21. And the video is on my Facebook page. And I posted it up on the 6 days ago. I hate when they do this stuff now. It's like you actually have to video. And it's Joe Biden standing with a crowd of people. And it was the swearing in ceremony of Montana Senator Steve Daines. I think it's Daines. His sister Christine and the husband Rob Piazzi. I'm probably not doing it justice because it's one of those twisted up Italian names. But anyway, so the thing is that the daughter of these, the sister and husband was Maria Piazzi, and she was standing in front of Joe Biden, and Joe Biden is there, and he might be a mental deficient now, but he is a master of distraction to do perverted stuff to children. And at one point in the video, he goes, "Okay, everybody look up for the picture." And they're all like, doing the cheese thing, all looking up to get the picture taken. At that point in time, he reaches down and grabs the right breast and nipple of an 8-year-old child and tweaks her nipple. Now, you can see the video, and she's like, "Ow, what the hell, man?" She's like looking around for help, and he's like, obviously, weak. I'm really slick at this, and nobody saw me. Nobody caught him in the process of doing that. And the only reason why it's even verifiable is you can watch the video over and again, and you can see Joe Pedo Biden in process, basically sexually molesting a small child. This is the kind of disgusting stuff that you can expect from Biden, and this is the kind of stuff you can expect him to not stop doing, but it just is what he does. Just give me a second. I got a constant problem here because I'm on the blood thinners. I basically barely scratch myself, and I'm just like, feeling like blood running down my leg. So anyway, so way, shape, and form now. Basically, this video is out. It's been out, and it's one of those things. It's good. Why? Because that's just who he is. He's not switching up. He's not stopping in midstream. That's just how he runs and guns. He's not going to stop being the guy that he is. And I think as he gets progressively more conjectured mentally, I think things are not going to work out for him so good that the wall separating the I'm not going to do it to the hey, this looks like a golden opportunity will fade away. So anyway, we now find ourselves with a potential candidate who is a creep. And that's expressly who it is. Now, I don't know if you guys heard about this one or not. And I'm just simply going off the cuff on this one. But there was a video posted where Kamala, and I'm not going to say Kamala Harris was stated as saying, during the Kamala Harris administration, you can count on it. I mean, during the Biden administration, I will have a strong voice in the administration. So automatically, as soon as they get in, Biden's going to go, yep, I'm the old guy. I can't do this anymore. Oh, I tried so hard. I really, really worked so hard for you people that, I worked so hard that, I got in now, but I'm unworthy to continue in this office because, I'm just too old. They were right. I'm too old and enfeebled. I can't continue to do this any longer. I just need to pull back and hand the reins of power to Kamala and let her run things because, being the vice president, she can do this, so I resign. Now, it's also come out to say that she is wanting the I'm in charge position by default and basically saying I'm unelectable as president, but I'm getting foisted upon. That is emblematic, and it shows exactly the mindset of the Democrat Party. They don't want anybody but the most socialist senator who has ever sat in office in Washington, ever. They want that person to be the president of the United States. And also something else to realize, everything that happened to Brett Kavanaugh was because of Kamala Harris. A whole bunch of other bad policy happened because of Kamala Harris. A whole bunch of horrific intentions in Congress and Senate were because she put it into vogue. Now, personal ethics aside, of which she pretty much has zero, it's well noted that she pretty much used her feminine wiles. I'm going to keep this as clean as I possibly can. She used her feminine wiles to, get into politics. And it's pretty much safe to say that she is just lowest bottom rung, do anything possible. And, I will do anything to get into office because...
But I pooped from there.
Okay, I'm sure she was willing to do that too. But, yeah. Yeah, I think there's a reason why she got into office, and it may have been just a little bit of, yeah, it was a little bit of that. I really don't think that she was able to, oh no. No, sound guy, no. Oh, jeez. I don't think that's exactly what her political intentions were. Well, actually, that was her political intentions. I'm pretty much sure that she said, you know what? If I do this, I'll get that. Hey, ho, yeah, good enough. Okay. Well, anyway, let me look over here real quick to the room, see what people are saying. Great Darth Cheney 2.0. Yeah, Darth Cheney. The more I hear about Bush W, the more I'm least impressed with him, the more I'm impressed with Cheney for getting in office. Cheney was the quiet guy in the background that you think pretty much that is the gray man. That truly is the gray man. That's the guy that pretty much gets no real attention, and he's the most beloved member of the intelligence community because nobody really notices the guy. He's just kind of there, just going twiddling thumbs in the corner, and everybody's just like, okay, this guy's window dressing. I just blow right past him. He doesn't even stick out. That's the kind of stuff you got to worry about, is those kind of guys. Yeah, it's bad juju in any way, shape, and form. Let me scroll on over here and see what I got going on. I don't know if you guys noticed this or not, but I did post up a GIF, and this was actually something that's coming from where did I source this guy from? I forget. I truly do forget. But what it is, it's a bar graph showing COVID-19 cases, and you can see that it's kind of like barely. Then there's a spike, and it's a major spike. And then it goes back down again, and there's a couple little bumps and little ridges. Not much. It's kind of it's trending back down almost. And then it's kind of doing a slight rise. And then the mask mandate hits. And then all of a sudden, it goes stratospheric. And it goes higher than previous. And one, which was like the mask mandates and whatever, you see that one corresponding almost exactly perfectly with the death toll. The death toll spikes, and then it goes down. There's a slight rise, and it goes down again. And then you see the death toll go down and stay absolutely almost flat. So the COVID-19 mask mandates and the death rates have, one, been overreported, and two, masks are really a Band-Aid on a hemorrhage. So that is what it is. John Yost, appreciate you coming by, dude. It's really kind of more of a Band-Aid on a hemorrhage. The real intention is just like in surgery, okay? The mask is not intended for anything squirting out of the patient to protect the doctors. It's to keep the doctors from putting their germs into the patient. Is it an exact science? No. And I can tell you why it is not an exact science. Because you always have situations where the operating room is supposedly the most antiseptically clean, spotlessly as much as we can make it. You got to remember, people look like bleeding, spraying, all kinds of crap in there all the time, and they're always cleaning stuff off. But there's always a high proportion of post-operative infections in patients. Now, I can tell you for a fact, when I went into the ER, everybody was gloved up, everybody was dressed up, everything was just like, spick and span as much as you can make it. Because when you're cracking somebody's chest, you want that stuff to be absolutely as antiseptically good as you can make it. I think everybody's wearing spray shields too, but it was what it was. Of course, I had my chest cracked in February, which was like the very, very, kind of, little bubbles they're in. And I think the doctor was actually ahead of the curve by saying, man, get this guy wrenched on now. Because if we wait for it, either one of two things is going to happen. Either he's going to pop or the virus is going to pop. Get him wrenched on now. So that was good thinking of my cardiologist guy and the cardiac surgeon, thoracic surgeon, call him what you will. And, but I can tell you, but most of the stuff that's plastic wrapped on stuff, and, that's literally what they refer to truly, literally as barrier protection. So that is intended to say Mr. Germ goes and just doesn't get past the plastic sheeting because he's now stuck on the plastic sheeting. Now, the germs actually go cruise around and basically find everybody? No, but you got to remember air currents and what have you. And viruses are dinky little things. I mean, they are absolutely dinky little things. To say that you can stop a virus with a mask is about the same thing as saying, yeah, I just put up a new chain link fence. Them mosquitoes are not going to get me, man. It's roughly about the same amount of protection. The intention for a mask is to keep you from giving it to everybody else around you. Now, this whole 3 foot, 6 foot thing and all the rest of that stuff, it really truly doesn't make a huge amount of difference. The biggest thing you got to worry about is, of course, when people are speaking, they're spraying. When people are sneezing, they're spraying. When people are hacking up, spreading their bougies everywhere and touching everything, that's what you got to worry about. Like every time I've ever done a Disney vacation, I made 2 things happen even before all this virus stuff happened. Number one, I tried not to touch as much stuff as possible. You see all those guys walking around and they're touching the rails and the little kids are rubbing their noses and touching everything and all the rest of that falderall. I made it a point to try not to touch rails. And if I did touch rails, I did not touch my face. I got in the habit, and very, very simply put, this is very, very easy to do, is if you got an itch or something, back of your hand, you don't use your fingers, because trying to get something from here to here is a lot harder than going from here to here. All right. Germs, viruses, all the rest of that stuff. Contact areas. Normally, you don't contact the back of your arm on stuff. Normally, you don't contact like door handles with your, all these other things. So now make it grow around and hit it with my body. I'll push it open with my back. That way I know for sure it's basically barrier protection from mucous membrane, all the rest of that fun stuff, all the good things like that. It's just my line of thinking at this point, mostly because I got to be a little bit more careful with all the chest stuff. Do I have a really seriously high risk? Not particularly, man. My immune system is disgusting. It's just like as soon as something comes in, it's like, oh yeah, fights on, man. Let's rock. I mean, I rarely get sick, and when I do get sick, I usually flip it over really fast, mostly because I eat a lot of antioxidants in the first place. I gobble vitamin C. I eat a lot of A, E, all that stuff, D3. I eat a pile. I eat more vitamins than I do of my, my normal daily routine than I do of my pharmacological stuff. And I've always been like that. I've always taken vitamins. I take another, multivitamin on top of that because, of the stuff that I do miss. So I eat scads of vitamins. I'm not so much into drinking like the gallons of water. Or you should be drinking 4 to 5 liters of water per day. It's like, dude, if you're drinking 4 to 5 liters of water per day, whatever is in your body is going out of your body. Okay, you're flushing everything down the toilet and making the fish happy. All right. Yeah, you should be hydrated, but you shouldn't be hydrated to the point where you're basically whizzing out every single thing that you took in, going, yeah, let's just duke it out with this stuff because it'll keep me healthier. That's not what you want, man. Not at all. Let me look back over here in the room real quick. All right. See you, Abrams. Have a good one, brother. I'll catch you later. So anyway, looking at stuff as it is now also in the timeline, it's really also not a very good virus. I mean, it's not like one of those really prevalent things like, HPV or something. And the other thing, too, is also it is a COVID virus. COVID means like occurring. I mean, there's tons of people who have been exposed to COVID because, oh, yeah, it was similar enough. Your body recognizes COVID-19 and goes, yeah, that's a bad one. Let's knock that thing down. And they immediately attack it. That's why a lot of people are carriers and they're positive for COVID-19, but they're not actually expressly victims of the full-blown version. They might have the virus, but they are innately immune. All right, scroll. Oh, man. I'm not going to click on this link for the very simple point. If you guys can find it yourself. This was a Sean Hannity link, and it was essentially Biden trying to rag on Trump for saying, slow Joe and all the. And it was like, oh well, slow Joe, and he was blinking like somebody who drank like 4 pots of coffee, and his behavior seemed a little amped. Like he'd basically been lit up with some kind of mental lubricant of some version. I don't know what he was on. He wasn't actually on speed or anything, but he was on something. I don't know if it was diazepam or one of the other kind of pump you up type of meds, but he was not acting like his normal self. He was more amped up, and he was acting like he basically slept like 12 hours and he was full of vim and vinegar and ready to go. But as he was doing his, slow Joe, this, that, Trump, this, that, the other thing, he really, and he started going like this, which I think is a cue to his handler saying, I've lost my way. And the video cut and starts back up again. So if you have an uncut video of his performance, you would see him going, okay, I forgot what I was going to say there, but, okay. Well, let's just do another take. And the news guy was not even like telegraphing the fact that Joe did not have a consistent train of thought whatsoever. There was always this kind of, oh, well, yeah, Mr. Vice President, this, that, and the other thing, blah, 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 blah. That's the other thing, too, is also Obama was always Mr. President, Mr. President Obama, blah, 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 blah. It was always very just, I'm going to give you the ultimate respect and what have you. And it's like, and Trump, this, that, and the other thing, this, that. And that's the other thing, too, is they always just refer to him as name. Trump administration or the Trump this or the Trump that. It's not President Trump. Sometimes in news settings, you can see, Mr. President, the president that they don't like. Why? Because they're suffering from TDS, Trump derangement syndrome. They cannot get over the fact that Hillary lost. Still. What do we have? Like 60, 50 days until we actually get a chance to vote. And they are still out of their gourds about the fact that Trump is in office, has been in office. They tried to remove him by impeaching him. They couldn't impeach him. The Senate gave him a pass. No, the trumped up charges, excuse the phrase, the trumped up charges that you guys threw at him is arbitrary, capricious, and not even based in true reality. As a matter of fact, you guys actually had to cheat to get the charges even into Congress to be read. There was nothing good about it. It pretty much was just a piece of crap from word one to ending of, Nancy Pelosi going, well, we can't get him out of office. And Queen, I really want to use another word here. Queen Witch. Yeah, let me try to say nicely. Queen Witch really has shown herself to be the most bottom rung, effete, insular a-hole who has ever sat in the office of leader of the Congress ever. Mask violations in her home area. Why? Because if they did that stuff, they would get hung dry. Financially, they would get hung out to dry. Logistically and legally, they would get hung out to dry. It wouldn't even be funny how bad they would get this crap foisted upon them. The stuff that she did because the little people hang and she gets a pass. It's really disgusting the way these guys pull this stuff. It really, really, truly is. Scroll. Oh, man. If there's ever anybody that I don't know if I would say I have hero worship for, but somebody who I greatly, greatly respect. Excuse me 1 second here. Refer to it as the sport, but the sport of auto racing of, the venue NASCAR. I'm not a NASCAR fan. Trust me. I remember back in the good old days when I was a kid. That's when I thought it was kind of cool. Nowadays, it's this political-minded, almost like, asking groups for investigative, checking out to make sure that you're not being too presumptuous the way that you're posing this. You know what? Be honest for what it is. When they set up NASCAR was set up by rednecks running moonshine, and the place was named after cigarettes. It was the Winston Cup. And they were running cars like they were running shine back in the good old days. Okay? That's the way it used to be. So anyway, we now have this politically correct crap that's being foisted on us from not just the Major League Baseball, not just the NBA, not just football, the National Felons League, NFL, not just also hockey. But NASCAR is now the politically correct, mandated piece of crap that nobody wants to watch anymore. Truly did respect greatly, and do respect greatly, quote unquote, the king, end quote, Richard Petty. Number 43. Everybody knew him as the king. Why? Because he flat out dominated NASCAR for the entire career that he had there, and he was known as that guy. He was going to be that guy that wins a lot of races, if not most of the races. So he was basically the Dale Earnhardt before there was a Dale Earnhardt. And actually, the thing about it is he's likable. Everybody likes Richard Petty. I mean, everybody. I mean, just you have this down home kind of laid back, nice guy who's like very, very. I mean, he drives like a. I really want to curse here, but he drives like a mother father. But he's like the nicest guy you'd ever want to meet. And he's always had that persona. You know, he wins a race. And it's like, so how do you think you won? You're amazing. This, that, and the other thing. He's like, well, I kind of got lucky because we really this, that, and the other thing. Everything seemed to work out for us this time. We drove hard and we were victorious. The other guys really, really worked hard too. But we just managed to work harder, and for some reason, we just won. It wasn't like, we dominated them. We're the best guys on the planet. Blah blah. He was always very humble about that, and I always thought that was very cool about the man. All through his career, as amazing as his career was, he was always cool about it. It wasn't like, I'm just that amazing. I beat everybody else's tail feathers off. He was never like that at all. He always was just the genteel winner. So anyway, looking at things now, we have Bubba Wallace. I mean, hang on a second. I gotta look up something. I really gotta look this up, and this is gonna be one of those things that's just gonna annoy me when it happens. But okay, of all things, he is the Black Danica Patrick, black guy driving in NASCAR. She was the one girl driving in NASCAR. Are they particularly good drivers? Well, Bubba's claim to fame is he is amazing driving by himself. And he posts great times, and he usually gets pole position, or usually gets high up in the ranking. So driving by himself, he's awesome. Driving with a crowd of other guys and trying to do his job, he sucks. I mean, he really is not a very good driver when it comes time to not be driving like a total a-hole. He just doesn't do it. I mean, he crashes, he burns, other guys spin him out, he spins other guys out. He's not good in traffic. There's a whole bunch of technical things that he just really doesn't get right when he is driving in competition. He just does not do it. So anyway, he's now separated himself from the Richard Petty Motorsports group, and he's going to be picked up by somebody else. And I don't know who's picking him up in terms of, the actual NASCAR race group that he's now going to be driving with. But let's see. It's going to be dating at September 10, this article is, and it's on AL.com. So I don't know who AL.com is. But anyway, the reason why he's breaking off is obviously behind the scenes, but it says, quote, early this morning, Darrell Bubba Wallace Jr. informed Richard Petty Motorsports he will not be returning for the 2021 NASCAR Cup Series. I think they fired him. I don't think that he quit. I think they fired him. I think they're sick of his crap. We will complete the season with Wallace behind the wheel, the number 43 Chevrolet Camaro ZL1 1LE. We look forward to the next chapter making for the iconic number 43 team. We announced a new driver in the near future. This is not an easy decision. I have nothing but the utmost respect for Richard Petty and his family, but I believe the time for someone else to take over the reins of number 43. The statement read, thank you to the King and everyone at Richard Petty Motorsports for giving me the opportunity to start my Cup Series career. I've grown so much as a driver and as a person since joining them. We have 9 more races together, and I hope we can finish the 2020 season on a high note. Yeah. Wallace, NASCAR's only full-time black driver, is in his 3rd season driving for Petty. He has a career best 5 top 10 finishes. Oh, top 10 finishes. He didn't win. Top 10 finishes. And his career best number 23 in the Cup standings. That's not an outstanding driver. I'm sorry. I think Danica actually even did a little better than that. Wallace, NASCAR is only taking an active role, pushing for racial inclusion and equality, helped spur NASCAR to ban the Confederate flag at its races earlier this year. Dude, you did not make friends with that one because it's not seen as a racial symbol. It's seen as a Southern pride thing for NASCAR. Ouch. You did not make friends doing that, dude. I think that's why the other drivers kept spinning them out and crashing them. According to the Associated Press, Wallace parlayed that intro into several sponsorship deals that had been negotiated in a way that Wallace could take them if he left RPM, or Richard Petty Motorsports. So, he's got a bunch of charitable, liberal, mandated moron type aspect companies who are like, oh, you're so brave. You're so courageous. Golf clap. You're so brave. Oh, you're the black guy. Thank you so much for being the black guy. We suffer white guilt and we have to do virtue signaling. We'll keep supporting you. Golf clap. But the thing that's really markedly about it is he's wearing a t-shirt, Black Lives Matter, but he's wearing a mask with an American flag. Dude, pick a side. Seriously, pick a side. Protesting or driving. Pick one. You can't do both. You really can't. Ouch. Let's see. Scroll. Matt Spires, appreciate it, dude. Coming in there. Joe Rogan needs to moderate the debates. Let's make it happen. Oh, dude, yeah. Joe Rogan. And I actually did like a joke post. I really, truly did. I was being a smart ass, and I did a joke post. I could not help myself, but it was like, I'll bring it out into the room, and I'll have some fun with it because, it's clean. It's clean enough, okay? It's clean enough. But, you might want to get the kids out of the room. So anyway, what it was there's now this positive notion that Joe Rogan, like the comedian / talk guy who really, truly holds like absolutely no reason to just, be completely honest. But anyway, it was like, my version of him doing the presidential debates. Okay, Joe Rogan speaking. Okay, so when you're doing her doggy style, does the girl have to be spanked? President Trump. Depends on the mood at the moment, but sure, if she's into it. Biden. Hell's the girl? What does she smell like? Do you see Rogan like, next question? And then he's whispering, how the F did I get this gig? Yes, this is me being a smartass, and I support this message. Oh, man. So anyway, I would think that'd be absolutely bloody spectacular. You see Biden going, trying to keep his cookies together, and Trump's just like, really? I just think it would be blood spectacular, man. I literally would pay the pay-per-view to see that. I literally would. It's like, okay, let's have the uncensored presidential debate where Trump is just ripping him a new one, and Rogan's just like, how do I keep this together without it going nuclear? I would literally pay to see that, man. That would just be absolutely spectacular on so many levels. Oh my word, that would just be amazing. Oh man, that'd be just epic. Scrolly. Obviously, we did have September 11th. As a New Yorker, I give full credence, honor, and just I got nothing to say, man, other than it's just a bad passing, and it's not an easy day. Oh, let's see. Scroll. I don't know if you guys saw this or not, but some of the art coming out for Kyle Rittenhouse is like phenomenal. There was this one I posted up, and it was linked from Spikes Tactical. So, the guys that make all the good AR components and spare parts and goodies and rifles and, those guys. And they posted up a Magpul magazine. And I cannot do it justice. I've got a spare one floating around here, I think. Hang on a second here. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So Magpul PMag, obviously you guys know what that is. And it's polymer. So it's basically, it's polymer. It's reinforced. And you can't really say it's plastic because it's polymer. It's a different animal completely. But anyway, the way, shape, and form of these guys is that they can do art on them and whatnot. And the art that is on this particular magazine, I cannot do it justice. It is absolutely just phenomenal. And it is a cartoon version of a skateboard running down the length of the magazine. Excuse me, running down the length of the magazine is a cartoon skateboard. And on the skateboard, it says specifically, pro tip, never bring a skateboard to a gunfight. Oh, man. And then, of course, there's that other one with the guy that got zapped, and he's like, I'm missing 90% of my bicep, and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, yeah, and you got 90% of the reason never to jack with another person who happens to be armed ever again. You found out the hard way what point-blank damage an AR-15 rifle will do to the human body. You might want to be that guy's now a spokesman for don't mess with people carrying an AR-15 rifle if you're protesting. That would be the best thing that you could say right now is just don't do it. You know, there's a really funny video. It's on YouTube. You have to hunt for it a little bit, but it's Jim Carrey and I think not Tommy Davidson, but the other guy that was on Living Color. And they're doing Reginald Denny and I forget the other guy was the reason for the LA riots, but they see those guys standing side by side and they're like, okay, don't get out of your car. This, that, and the other thing. If the police pull you over, this, that, and the other thing. And believe me, if you think this, that, and the other thing, and it's not going to hurt, it hurts. And they're like both doing like, you know, kind of jacked up and considered head injury guys. It's like, if you ever have a doubt, blah, 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 don't get out of your car. Because if you think it's not going to hurt, it hurts. I cannot do it justice. You know, the link is up in YouTube. Just, you know, look for like LA riots, Living Color. You'll find it. It's Jim Carrey's name, King, I think it was, or something. But you know, it's memories lost in minutia because that was like back like 92, I think was like the LA riots. So that's stuff that I don't remember because it's also on the other side of the flipping country. Not in my forehead. Let's see. I don't know if you guys caught up with this one or not, but the dominoes are falling in the Arab world. For those guys going, you know what? It's been long enough, 6,000 years. Let's just make peace with the Jews. I mean, and the other thing too is amazing is this happened actually on September 11th. Wow. I almost now want to go there and spend some money to, thank these guys for doing this. Being a good Jew, I would do this. I would actually probably go there and spend money in their country to thank them. But of all things, Bahrain has now made themselves saying, look, the Jewish nation is recognized now as Israel. Let's just be more friendly with them. I mean, there's no reason for us to, cross swords with these guys. Let's open up our channels. Let's start working with them. Obviously, the Jewish guys are not bad eggs. I mean, they do a lot of good stuff. I mean, they come up with all kinds of research. They try to help their fellow man. We could probably hang out with them. They're all right. I mean, we all basically eat kosher in some form. So, yeah, let's just work with that. So, amazingly enough, Bahrain has now signed on with the peace accords with Israel. Wow. I mean, they're falling like dominoes. I mean, who's next? Sudan? Chad? Qatar? I could see it happening, man. I mean, next then you would say, like, okay, well, who would be next? Saudi Arabia. Well, if the Saudis or Saudi and then hook up with the Israelis, that's major because the UAE and the Saudi Arabian guys are like the big money guys. And of that, actually, the UAE, they're kind of like the Swiss. If you think about the way that the Swiss actually do business, that's like the UAE. That's like the Moroccans. That's like the Jordanians. They're like, you know what? Dude, everybody's money is green. We're good. You want to come on in and hang out with us and basically do financial stuff? You want to buy something here? You want to sell something here? If you want to sell your services to us, why not? I mean, we're fine with it. I mean, they're basically not like I would say that they're whores. I would say that they're good businessmen. And when they see an opportunity, they're like, why not? We don't care who you are. Your money's green. Come on in. That is all awesome stuff. And the thing that's really, really cool about it is all these nations now not clamoring, but working together to basically have a unified front against the militant guys who are like, no, let's all hate the Jews because they're Jews and da 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 da. They're now getting seen as like, it's not cool to be the guy that really says Jews suck. And I think the thing that's going to be, really cool about that is in the long view where all these nations finally say, you know what, let's just stop this crap and, see that the terrorists, see that the troublemakers, see that these guys who are like, the instigators, they are the problem. Not the fact that, we basically have these old wounds that we basically just keep reopening. Sometimes you just need to put the weight. You're carrying 1,000 pounds on your back. It's time to put the weight down. You can't keep carrying it forever. So that's all cool stuff. And Bahrain, thank you. Very, very cool. Let's see. Scrolly. I don't know if you guys caught up on this one, but I posted this up. And I don't know what the actual sale price was, what it actually sold for. But there's Series 2, not Series 1, but Series 2. I don't know if it's really product improved, but it's definitely a Series 2, so it's a second running of the original brand. And, they may have done some minor tweaks. I don't think they really did too much changing up on it. But anyway, what it is I am now speaking of, it ended. Wow. Being sold by CDNNsports.com, one of my favorite websites, by the way. They were selling off serial number 1, as in the first. Serial number 1, Steyr SSG 69. So we're talking about a military level, police SWAT level, great shooting gun. Basically seen as like a premier rifle that will work in the worst of times, best of times, and will hold zero and be able to zap targets at good alacrity at extended distance perfectly every time it can be counted upon. Why? Because it is just that good. So we're talking about serial number SG. I read, no, actually it's more than that. I read Sierra Golf. So SSG 00001. The very first one. The very, very first Series 2 SSG 69. Man. Oh, man. That thing went for $3,125. Holy crap. At a bid price starting at 1 penny. 41 bids. That thing went nice. So anyway, what's the technical good stuff that's on a SSG 69, which is actually the year of its introduction, 1969, hence its model number. Well, first and foremost, hole drilled through it. They put a rod into it, or they have a mandrel that goes into it that has all the rifling engraved on the mandrel. They then put that into a machine that goes bing, 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 and squishes it a bit with hammers. And they literally hammer the barrel into shape. Now, the thing about it is when you look at an SSG 69, the barrel has like these almost like drill bit looking grooves on the outside with all these little flats on it. And that is literally the hammer forging, where they took that piece of steel that started out about a foot long and became 24 inches long, squishing that hole down and forming it around the mandrel to make a perfect imprint of the rifling, which they then extract the mandrel out and, of course, do some minor polishing on the inside. Of course, eyeball that thing, make sure it's dead nuts and all that good stuff. That's just the barrel alone. Now, they don't refinish the outside, because anytime you refinish the outside, you basically change all the dynamics and the thing will shoot differently. You leave it slightly rough. Of course, you obviously put the Parkerizing or the Cerakoting or the bluing or whatever finish that you put on it. That's what the barrel gets. But you can see all those little flats and those little, spirals that go around it. That shows you it's hammer forged. That makes that barrel 4 times more expensive than your standard barrel in its instance of existence. Number 2 is you look at the receiver of these rifles, and the forward area of the receiver is like that long. Your standard rifle is like that long. Reason being, twice the barrel is insetted into the receiver as your standard bolt action rifle. That makes the action, that makes the barrel one more homogeneous item versus having some flex, some slop, and all the rest of this fun stuff. That is all stuff that they do. Now, the only druthers that I have with this rifle, and if you look at it on the side, it's almost like a triangle, and it lays the rounds in a semicircle, so it holds more ammunition. So basically, you fit like 10 rounds in the place of like 5 rounds. I forget what the exact one is, but I think it's a 5-round magazine, and it's flat, man. It's really flat. But the magazines themselves are well known to not tolerate cleaning chemicals at all. What happens is that basically the cleaning stuff, read like Hops 9 or any of the other really hardcore stuff, Brake Clean or Carb Clean or any stuff like that. It just terrorizes the plastic. It just makes it break. So, and I'm saying plastic, I actually mean polymer. So that's one of those things you have to be really careful about is when you clean that rifle is you remove the magazine, you clean the rifle, you remove all the cleaning chemicals, obviously you oil the rifle and all the rest of that good stuff like that there. That seems to be the only major problem with an SSG rifle is the magazines have to be a little bit more charitably cared for. But otherwise, that thing just shoots like a house on fire. I mean, they really, really do shoot well. Do they shoot as good as like your standard bench rest gun? Maybe not exactly, but they'll do it in the worst of times and the worst of conditions consistently. You can abuse the hell out of one of those things in the worst of times, and the SSG 69 will work. And oh man, I was drooling over that thing big time. It was looking very, very hot. Very hot. Let me look over here real quick. Nobody else said anything over on the YouTube side. Nobody else said anything on the Facebook side. So I got no more comments, but that's cool. So I can riff on, basically you guys know me. I can just talk. Scroll. I did post up a video where I was speaking of the me room. It's gonna be this side right here. This guy right here, up above me, right here, is a Leatherman display case that I picked up off of. Looking around, I'm like, yeah, I need another knife display because I have not enough knives up. Mrs. Dude is probably going to go in that room sometime and just go, holy crap, he's got an addiction. Yeah, well, I kind of do. So anyway, way, shape, and form in which I find myself, I now acquired yet another countertop knife store display. And of course, that'll be placed in the me room. The me room video is currently up on YouTube. So if you guys want to get kind of a quick tour, I really didn't go into huge detail. I just kind of showed some stuff. And actually what I did was I stripped that video from a show-off video that one of my friends, I sent it to him as an unlisted video so he could get an idea what the me room actually looks like. And so a lot of the commentary and a lot of the other stuff I stripped out. I took this footage and I slowed it down by 50% because I was really kind of like just running around the room and just showing stuff real fast. So it's really not the most descriptive, but it kind of gives you kind of a hint at some of the stuff I have in the me room. I didn't show you everything in the me room. Obviously, some of the stuff does need to be worked on, like that banner I have along the top of the room there. It actually was the kids' room, so I have like dinosaur banner in that room I need to get off of there. It's kind of kitschy and kind of cute, but it's not me. That stuff's got to get out of there. I'm thinking of just putting up another banner on top of that banner and be done with it. At least until such time that I remove that banner from the room. Am I really worried about the eggshell, the Robin eggshell color of the room? No, it's actually fine. I'm fine with the blue room. It's perfectly fine for me. I mean, it's a neutral color. Doesn't weird me out or anything. And potentially, probably, I actually need to do a remote video in the me room. So I might do that sometime. Obviously, there'll be some occasion where obviously I need to probably do the laptop and do probably my tablet. The only problem is the tablet really doesn't have the best camera. I probably could do that now with the new device. You know what? Let me talk about the new device. In my phone usage. Years ago, I had an NV3. Still have an NV3. It's a great little phone, man. This thing for its time period was like, awesome. I mean, had a dedicated keyboard. I'll show you real quick here. Had a dedicated keyboard. Has a screen on the inside, a screen on the outside. And for all intents and purposes, I mean, this thing was just, for its size, this thing was a little powerhouse for what it did. You could go on the internet, You could shoot 30-second videos. The internal storage was not huge. The picture quality is just a joke. I mean, it looks like bad thumbnails nowadays, but it was good enough for its time. And this thing was a great little piece, man. I used this thing all over the place. It was an awesome little unit. And truthfully, the only reason why it doesn't work nowadays is the network does not support it. And as a matter of fact, this thing is so antique, you can't even run a Wi-Fi signal on this booger. It was strictly online, just to Verizon. But awesome little piece of kit. It still works great, too. Then I jumped over to the Samsung S3, broken screen, courtesy of my niece. But this one was an awesome phone for its time period. Obviously aged out pretty quickly. The processor in it is not the fastest. The camera is kind of better than that, but still not the best. Then, of course, I went to my beloved, still works, still going to be probably using it for some things, my Samsung S5. Dude, this thing is the beast. It truly is the beast. I love this thing. It was just an awesome phone. Still works. Took it off the network because I replaced it with my newest bestest buddy, my Samsung S9 Note. And the reason why I went S9 and not S10 is because it has a pluggy. Now, seeing that I'm going to be doing some trips, a set of noise canceling headphones. Now, the thing that's really, really cool about these guys is, one, they still work. I mean, there's no reason in the world why older tech that's, not in vogue any longer, like 4 or 5 years old, doesn't work. No, it does work. It's just whether it still supports the newer stuff, the older stuff, or is there now a major shortfall because the technology is no longer supported? Well, if you look at this guy, it is very cool in one major instance. It has active noise suppression. And I showed it to Mrs. Dude, and she was like, holy cow, that's really, really cool. So literally all it is a single A battery with an on-off switch and a monitor button, and obviously going to a phono jack plug, which then goes into your device. So, best thing about Mr. Note here is Mr. Note can accept a plug. That's the best part. So, it's now saying, I'm waiting for music, man. Where's the music? I need music. I actually do need to put my, my music files into this booger. But anyway, the cool part is the noise suppression on this. It's not 100%. There is a slight hiss to it. But because of my tinnitus, my ear ringing thing, I really don't notice the hiss so much. It's really not that, like beat me over the head. I really don't mind it so much. It's there. And they did say it was notable about these when they tested them back in the day. The coolest damn thing about this is when you click it on the noise suppression mode, the internal amplifier, it sweetens up the sound a lot. It pulls the highs in, and my two standard test everybody's stuff songs are driven, not hugely, but satisfactorily. And this thing actually is pretty freaking loud. Best part is you can buy these guys now on eBay for about $20. Like, I'll get that one too, and it is like $15 to $20. And it's actually the next generation up one, and they're still cheap. I cannot tell you how cool it is when old technology, excuse me, drop the adapter plug. The old technology is just getting better. And I don't know why it has this 2-plug setup. This is one of these Sony things, but you can run it as a single plug, run it as a 2-plug setup. I guess that's so there's like a controller or something. Might plug into like one of their laptops or something. I got to look this up and get like the owner's manual or something. All that stuff's online. So I got the adapter plug. I got this. I got another set of earbuds and the carry case for like $23, $22. I mean, you start looking at these noise suppression units now, and it's like big honking headphones. You basically have like a set of headphones, and I didn't want that. I just wanted something easy, portable, simple to use, just easy to handle. I didn't want to go with something just garish and ridiculous and major, looking like Princess Leia with these 2 massive things on my head. I didn't need that. I didn't want that, so I didn't do that. I simply got this guy, and this is so portable, so pocketable. And the fact it runs on AAA batteries, dude, you can have like 20 of those things in your backpack and you'll never notice them. This thing with like, a year's worth of batteries, it's going to weigh under a pound, man. It's going to be just easy. So anyway, I'm ready to rock and roll. Got the S9, got the new stuff. Technology's moving on. I'm going to do a review on this phone. And so far, I've been using it pretty much as a phone and pretty much using it only as a work unit, doing like Uber and Lyft and what have you. And the screen size on this thing is just so much better. I mean, it's literally at least another centimeter, half an inch bigger than the previous phone. Crap. And I have yet to run the battery down below like 70%. This thing is a beast, man. It really has just been an awesome unit so far. And price of entry was not terrible. And the S10s, or the Note 10 and the S10 really are not that much better. I mean, they're a little faster in the processor. They got a little bit more ink and what have you. This one will still support the newest version of Android. It'll support an Android 11. And it'll support up to a 1 terabyte SD card. Holy crap, man. Let me put this in perspective, okay? This phone is getting a little full in the card size. It's only a 64 gig. It's only a 64 gig. This phone over here is like unbelievably. Hang on a second. Oh, no. Shut up. Wrong thing. That definitely slept on me. So anyway, the card I just put in this is 128 gig. Dude, I'm going to wait for the 1Ts to get cheaper because right now they're like about 260, 270, 300. That's too much money. The 512s are still like spendy. I'm going to wait for the 1Ts to get cheap. Then I'll plug one of them guys in this beast and this thing will never be full. Holy crap. A whole terabyte of yummies. This thing's got over 6,500 images on it, and it is yet to fill the card. Wow. I'll be taking pictures of everything. All right, folks, I'm going to break up with this one. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. Those guys over on the YouTube side, those guys over on the Facebook side. I know you got many other things to do, but you hung out with me, and I truly appreciate your kind attentions. And those who came by get a gold star. I'm going to break off with this one. Like I usually say, do be sure to check us out on the other side of goodness. Hang on a second. What is up? My mouse is not doing it. My mouse is not doing it. I don't know why. Are you feeling like working out? Oh, amazingly, I tapped it twice. The old school way to fix things. You bang it on something. You hit something. Ugh, so annoying. So terribly annoying. All right, so do be sure to check us out around the cabin, aroundthecabin.com, aroundthecabin.com/campfire. Around the Cabin news, Around the Cabin food, Around the Cabin school self-reliance, Around the Cabin buy, sell, and trade. Around the Cabin, medicinal cannabis, and Around the Garden's Gate. Find me on Twitter as 80spcc. Find me on Facebook as Dude Jerky. Find me on YouTube as 80s Podcast Channel. I appreciate your kind attention. You guys hung out with me and good stuff like that there. Have a good one. And I will probably do a show. Let's see. I may do a preempted show next week, but it's going to be from double secret new location. Yeah, double secret new location. So if I do it, you guys will see me then. Hopefully I'll do something. I don't know. I still got to see if this guy will actually broadcast normally, or do I need to do some kind of really bizarre kind of craziness. But I do know the cameras in these things are so much better than this. So if I did do a live cast with the S9 Note or Note 9. Actually, it's Note 9. It's not S10. It's not S9. It's S Note and Samsung Galaxy Note 9. Okay, they want to add that differentiation in it. So anyway, this guy's gonna be the different guy. And I'm gonna break off another one. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me. And like I usually say, Eco Tip Center is always. You know you love it. I guess you guys hate long goodbyes. Catch you guys next week, maybe. If not, I'll do some kind of update. Catch you guys in and have a good one. See you guys. Oh, well, where's the buttons at? The fucking duty buttons. I always lose the buttons. Catch you guys.